Okay, let's go here. Oh my god.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
Hola, Gervasio.
Okay, the recorder, right?
Should be good right now. Okay.
Okay.
Try to.
Again then.
Hola, Gervasio. Muchas gracias for coming. Just briefly introduce yourself to the audience.
Sure, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, my name is Gervasio. I was born and raised in El Salvador, and I'm a current student here in Hong Kong, in LPC.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great. And how about the story? How did you get to know
Sure.
about LPC and just?
Okay, sure. Yeah, just retaking this, going back to how did I met or how first knew about UWC as a movement. So there was 3.5 years ago. I came from school. I had so much homework to do. I started procrastinating,
Yep.
and I was like, okay, I'm gonna scroll down in Instagram, and then I saw this publication from this guy who used to study in my old school. Who in the publication it says that he was accepted in some kind of abroad international school, anything. So I was like, oh, what is this? Because the guy was going into bachelor. He wasn't going to university, so it's kind of weird that someone goes like study abroad when it's bachelor, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, what is this? And I started just to researching stuff about UWC. I remember spending like 2 hours probably.
Wow.
Just I was actually engaged.
I didn't spend that much time.
I was engaged because I saw a video, and actually they sell with their like the description of the movement, because like, oh yeah, you're gonna study abroad, you're gonna meet many multicultural guys coming from the entire world, many nationalities, community services. And because by that time I was actually very engaged in El Salvador with community services,
Okay.
I was like, I was convinced actually. And I was like,
maybe you can tell about some of them, just like a few
sure.
examples.
Well, basically, I was involved actually in the church, like in youth movements. And I was part of Interacts also. Apart from that, there were like many extracurriculars, I guess, like music and stuff. And I was very active in community, but like, so I like to be busy apart from school. And then UWC offers that, and it's like, I need this.
Perfect fit.
So I started to researching about how to apply, application process. It says that you need your national committee, and I remember sending like a lot of emails to my national committee because, hey guys, I'm Gervasio. I just let you know that I'm actually very engaged about this UWC. When are the application process starting? I sent probably easily, I don't know, 7 emails.
Wow.
They never replied.
Wow. But I mean,
but I started following them on Instagram, and then they published something about, selection process started. And I entered there. I told my parents, of course, okay, I'm trying to do this. I don't know if I'm gonna get it, but I'm still trying. So I went. The first time they rejected me because I had 14 years by the time.
Okay. So you tried twice.
The first time they rejected me because I was underage, and also because I was in 9th grade, I guess.
Wow.
And I was supposed to do at least 10th grade.
Yeah, makes sense.
And then it gave me like, because in El Salvador then process is every 1 year, so I had to wait 1 year. And this year I used it just to mentalize myself, like, okay, if you are doing this, you're gonna be 1 year out, like anywhere. You don't know where you're gonna be sent, and probably without your parents, without your parents actually. And so I mentalized myself. I tried for a second time, and I guess I got there. Right?
Yeah,
we are here.
You're here. And how about LPC? Was it the first choice, or you didn't dream of Hong Kong?
Funny, because the national committees, I don't know about yours, but like at least in mine, they ask us like, if, of course you don't have the right to choose, but they tell you, if you had the right to choose, what would be your 3 first of all options, just like in terms of college? And I was like, first I choose Norway, Red Cross Nordic. I wanted to go to Red Cross Nordic
to see the snow.
To see snow, because I never touched snow. I don't know how I know how it looks like, but I don't know how it feels like. The second one, I guess, was Canada. Pearson, and then the third one, Robert Bosch in Germany.
Okay.
Like, can you see the similarities? Like Western, cold stuff. And then they said, no, Hong Kong, the most tropical one.
Yeah, completely different. And how about, like, how did you find Hong Kong then? Were you happy that you are here? Are you happy right now?
When they first told me, I was kind of regretting. I was like, them.
I spent 2 years of my life.
Imagine receiving an email saying like, congratulations, you have been received in Hong Kong, in what is UWC, Hong Kong.
UWC, yeah.
I was like, Hong Kong. First of all, I was
Where
like,
is it?
where is Hong Kong? Because I thought it was the capital of China.
Ah, okay,
I was
okay.
like, where is Hong Kong? And I just searched for it, and it's like in the other in like the other point of the map, you know, like
Yeah.
El Salvador here,
Yeah,
in the other
completely,
part
yeah.
of the world is Hong Kong. I was like, there's literally no more far away.
Yeah, no, that's crazy.
And yeah, I was like, okay, you cannot regret anymore. You were accepted.
Yeah.
You signed it that you cannot regret anymore.
Yeah.
So I came. It's quite different from El Salvador, to be honest. In terms of weather, it's kind of similar. Here
Yeah, no snow,
no snow.
unfortunately.
Yeah, it's hot on summer.
Yeah.
Not kind of cold on winters. Like humidity is the same actually. And in terms of people, or I don't know, cities, Hong Kong is much more better than Salvador. Like, it's so much developed, very chaotic. Actually, you go
Yeah.
outside MTR, and there is people everywhere.
That's
You
very
see
true.
like people is very busy, or at least running for their works or whatever. And in El Salvador, you don't see that. Also, it's like people. I don't know if you feel it, because in Salvador is like, at least in Salvador is like, I don't know, like more warming. You know,
Yeah,
like
I mean, people are
you
kind of,
see
yeah.
someone, even though you don't know that person, you still like salute that person with a kiss. You know, like
Yeah.
mwah, mwah.
You do that? Wow,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
don't. Okay,
You
that's
don't?
interesting. No, we don't.
Actually,
I
okay.
mean, we're like kind of more closed. We're not smiling at each other. I mean, we're not as close as like people here, but at the same time, like kissing someone on the cheek, I mean, it's too much. Yeah. No, but that's nice. That's nice.
It's nice because I don't know. I think it's kind of culture. You go, I don't know that person, but it's like, mwah, mwah.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, okay, good. But then I came here, and they're like,
That's it. Yeah. And if they reply, it's like, you know,
and
it's a
yeah,
good
and
day.
they probably, for them it's normal. But when I came first, it was like kind of awkward for me. Like, where's the
Yeah.
physical touch here?
Yeah.
And then also funny because when I went back to El Salvador, maybe I just adopted that culture of just,
Just
yeah.
like,
And then I came back in El Salvador for summer break. There were
Yeah.
like people, what you?
You're
Hold
like,
on, hold
no,
on, you're
no.
harassing me, bro.
No way. Wow. But you, I mean, you touched yourself upon that. I think I read somewhere on the internet that, you know, like El Salvadorians are very like, you know, welcoming and
Yeah,
very
yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, very like, is this like,
Yeah,
with
it-
everyone? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, could be a stranger, the one who is passing by, and you just still say hi,
Yeah.
or you talk to each other. At least it's very welcoming, we're warming.
Yeah.
Here it's just like, actually here it's probably because I kind of look like foreigner for them.
I mean,
and
you
then
do.
I go to the street
Yeah.
and they're like, I feel like stirred, like,
Yeah. No,
and they
definitely.
look at
They're
me,
like, yeah.
like kind of mean, but yeah.
Yeah, as if you're invading their
yeah.
territory. I mean, makes sense. We're kind of new to, yeah. But you were like, ah, hello, hello. Yeah, that's nice.
And they go,
Okay, yeah. And how about like the school life in general? Do you think this system, like the IB international system, was really hard for you, or you were pretty much prepared?
oof, okay. I used to take the IGCSE back
Okay,
home.
yeah.
Like I had
This is also
both
international?
IGCSE and national,
Yep.
because it was like, it was not international school, but it was bilingual school. And then, bicultural school is actually called. And they told me, oh, IGCSE is just like the IB, it's A levels, yeah.
Yeah.
But then I came, it's completely different. I thought it would be more prepared because my national committee was like, once they're in any college you're gonna suffer. It's like, in terms of academics, they're exploding
Yeah.
you. It's gonna be so hard. I was like, nah, because actually, and I have noticed this in like in all the students, that all of us are smart, right? But then like, at least I see like we're probably just people who find a pattern of how to pass grades, like with good grades, but without studying that much.
Yeah.
And I did the same. I didn't study that much, and I was passing grades like good, you know,
Yeah.
like I was not outstanding,
Yeah,
but I was
super
good.
academic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And when I came here, I didn't know how to study. Like I was forced to study, but I
Yeah.
didn't know how.
Yeah.
So I just started figuring out how to study by myself. And
Yeah.
yeah.
And now you're like better with
Yeah.
all of the management and stuff
True,
like that
true.
because, yeah, now you know how to learn on your own. Yeah, that's,
Sure.
yeah. That's a common.
That's how it works. Right?
Yeah, okay. So let's move on to more about like El Salvador in general.
Sure.
Like I would like us to start from the history. I know that you're a history HL student. Be proud of that. So maybe you can I know about like two major events that happened in the first half of the 20th century in El Salvador, which one of them is like football war, an interesting name, and the other one is a civil war. So maybe you can tell us what was that, like both of them, and what was their impact on modern El Salvador? What do you know about them in general?
Okay.
Yeah.
I will try to answer the best. I take history, but it's not. We don't study El Salvador's
you're not
history.
supposed to. Yeah.
History of Western and Asian.
Yeah.
Okay, I will try to remember what I learned from primary or
No need for
secondary
the
school.
days, just in general, what happened, why?
Okay, first of all, the football where
I
you
think
said.
it comes first, yeah.
Okay, no, it comes first actually.
Yeah, but you can start from
Yeah, that's a
whatever
very
you want.
funny. Some history guys told me like, "Oh, you are from El Salvador, right?" And it's like, "Oh, you had a war on football," and it's like, "Yeah, how you
Yeah,
know
that's
that?"
what we're famous for.
That's how we are famous because we have war on football.
Yeah.
Or like, it's not because of football. There were actually more background context, and basically, I think it was 1960s,
Yeah, somewhere around that, yeah.
So basically, you know that Central America used to be a whole country. They gained independence in 1821, 15th of December.
Yeah.
And they were a whole country. It was like United States of Central America.
Yeah.
But then they had internal problems and they just split it into micronations. There is El Salvador, Honduras, Guatemala, Nicaragua,
Yeah.
etc. So basically, they kind of conserve this context of a same country, same nation, but like different nations at the same time. There was like open, I don't know how to call it, open frontiers,
Yeah.
kind of, but at the same time, not. It's kind of complicated. But the thing is that by that time, I think it's Cold War happening by the time. And so like Soviet Union was trying to introduce communism in Central America, and people who were from the oligarch or elite rich people,
Yeah.
they were the government also. They managed the government, and they saw like farmers as a way of like a potential, I don't know,
Supporting
communism thing. And they were like just trying to eradicate that. At the same time, even though El Salvador is much more smaller than Honduras, El Salvador by that time was like more populated than Honduras. So like there were poverty first, and then there was people without jobs, like there were no job opportunities. So those poverty, they were usually those poor people were usually farmers. So they decided to migrate to Honduras because Honduras was like by the time was okay in terms of economy because they had bananas. There were a banana republic, and the bananas were being exported to the U.S. So then, just Salvadorian people started to move from El Salvador to Honduras. And then, once in Honduras, same people, the oligarchs, were like, okay, there are so much farmers coming from El Salvador, and if this continues to increase, there will be, of course, communism. We have to send them back to El Salvador.
Yeah.
So there were like that kind of pushing back El Salvadorians back to El Salvador kind of increased the tensions between both countries. And also by that time, there was the classifications for the 1970s World Cup in Mexico.
Yeah.
So it's just a coincidence that there were, I don't know much about football, but to classify to the World Cup, they make groups and you have to have matches with each one, and the winners go and move on to the next one, and then next one, blah, blah, blah. So basically, kind of that happened. Like El Salvador was in one group and Honduras was in another group. And I think both were winners of each group. So they have to have a match between each other to decide who is going to pass to the next round. I think there were 3 matches. The first one was in Honduras. Honduras won that first match, 1-0, I guess.
Yeah.
And probably I'm lying, but I've just heard I heard a story of like because El Salvador's team had to move to Honduras just to play that match, and they were like located in a hotel, and then people from Honduras went that night to the hotel and make disturbs, like they start to shouting or making noises just to not make them sleep that night before the match.
Wow, that's a dirty move. Huh?
Yeah, and that's why we lost the match.
Yeah.
And then the second match was in El Salvador, and we did the same to them. like Salvadorians went to the hotel they
Yeah.
were located, and or they were sleeping, and they make noises just to not make them
Yeah.
sleep before the match. And I guess we won also 1-0,
Yeah.
and we were tied. So there was like a third match,
Final.
the final, who is the one like deciding one, and it was in Mexico, and we won the match there in Mexico, 3-2, something like that.
Yeah.
And then at the next day, like I think Honduras declared the war on us or something like that. And then yeah, El Salvador, well, militarily prepared. He just went and bombarded, I don't know, the airport or whatever. And they told me in my school, old school, that we were winning the war. But then, like the Latin American Peace Organization,
Yes,
it was like, dude, you have to stop it. And it was like El Salvador, okay, let's stop it. So yeah, we made peace between each other. Of course, like, I mean, it's probably not that like the right history. That's what they told me. I haven't investigated so much, but like whoever just asked me, I'm just gonna say that we won the match and we won the war. Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
And there were other, I mean, there were other things. I think they took land out of us, and then there were some islands that were still in dispute with who owns them. But yeah, and then
Was it somehow linked, to the Second Civil War?
to this
I mean,
Civil
not
War.
the second, but
Okay,
the
the
second
Civil
event,
War.
Civil War. Yeah.
Same communism. It was a couple of years later. I don't know when it started. 1970.
Yeah, somewhere
No.
around the 70. Yeah.
78, something like that. Almost no, 1980, 1980s, I guess, because it lasted 12 years, 1980s to 1992.
Okay.
And basically, same, proxy wars.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, Soviet Union trying to introduce communism to new territories. You have examples, I don't know, Vietnam, Korea, Berlin, the Cuban Missile Crisis, and then the same in Central America. It's just the same. And the same happened in Nicaragua, and then like the ideology moved to Honduras and then into El Salvador. So then it started civil war between the oligarchs, capitalists, helped by the United States, and then not farmers, because there were people who were actually intellectuals who went to university and everything, but they had like Marxist ideologies on them, and they founded like communist parties, and they just had a civil war between them on who actually deserves to own the country somehow. The time just happened like in 12 years, and there was a moment where the Cold War just stopped. Like the Soviet Union was cracked down. I don't know. And then there was no more financial and economical help to these bands, to this right or left. So basically, it's not because they wanted to stop the war, but they don't have any financial, economical support anymore. So it's like, or we make peace, or I don't know. We're
So
going to
they were
stay like
forced
this.
to stop.
Yeah, they were forced to. And they made peace. I think they signed a treaty there in Mexico somewhere. And then they created a constitutional party, police, everything. Everything was magic. Again, it was a sovereign state again, everything. And it's hilarious because the same parties, or like the same bands, right and left, who fought each other during the Civil War, were they now the political parties of
so they're both like,
Yeah, so you had like, I don't know, military like people who actually killed on the Civil War were now politicians from, let's see, what's this, right, left? I don't know. Some ideological, And then you had people from oligarchs who were probably not even went to university. They just owned companies or business, and they're no politician.
And that's the case today, right? Like, I mean,
kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, yeah. There is another situation nowadays with the new government and stuff. I don't know if you're gonna ask that later, so I save it for me.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so,
sure.
Okay, so basically, 1992, I guess, they signed peace, and that civil war finished. Still, there were many people killed, many people disappeared, that we still don't know if they're underground or they just migrated to other countries.
Somewhere else,
Yeah, my parents actually lived that phase of the civil war. They are alive, thanks God. And they escaped from military milice, and
Were they in El Salvador when everything was happening?
Yeah, everything they were in El Salvador. My father, I guess, he was in the capital, and my mother was like moving from state to state.
So you had like a family impact. I mean, a family impacted by the events of those times.
Yeah.
It's not just like a history somewhere there. Okay. So how about the other stereotype? I know that like I mean we talked about the football war. Now we know what happened in the Civil War. So there's another stereotype about El Salvador being not the safest country in the world. I mean I'm not sure how much of a stereotype it is, but maybe you can tell us how safe it is actually to live there right now, and how was it for you when you were living there for 17 years of your life?
Okay, safer right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so then okay.
I mean it's
Okay, can we move now into the new government, right?
yes, yes.
Okay. So basically, once the civil war finished and the politic parties were created out of from the bands who fought the war, there were like almost, I guess, 30 years in which those parties they rotated somehow. Like, oh, this year they won the elections. This year the other one won the elections, and so on, so on. There was like 30 years because I think it's every 4 years they change it. So they were the only I mean there were others, but these were like the most powerful political parties and the ones that the people voted the most, right and left. uh, Anyone was actually, I mean, for out of the 30 years I probably just experienced 15, I guess.
15. Wow.
Yeah, 15, something like that. In my interpretation, in my consideration, anyone was actually good.
Yeah.
But then like people were already 30 years of political parties rotating.
Yeah.
People were already tired of those, like, okay, we are voting for you, but nobody's doing anything to develop or making better this country. So they started to look for new alternatives of people like with revolutionary or new ideas who can actually make better the country. So then this political figure is pretty famous. You can look at it in Instagram, Twitter, anything, Google.
Everywhere. Yeah.
Is Nayib Bukele. So he basically appeared. He first was mayor of one city. He later became the mayor of the capital, San Salvador, and then later he ran for presidential elections in 2019 something.
You know the
I don't know.
dates. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of impressive because he won like 56% by votes. Nowadays, he like in terms of approval of people approval, he has like 85% easily. He's probably like the president with the most
like approval.
Approval, yeah. And once in power, he just started to change everything. Like to implement or establish many law, constitution stuff, to change for better the country, new reforms. But he had like a opposition, let's call it, was because there in El Salvador there are three branches of power. Don't remember, presidential, judicial, and legislative, something like that. And then he was the presidential, of course. And then they had another elections for the legislative one, that is the Congress. So he won majority there. He has like 56 out of 84 seats. So he has majority. Whatever he says, everyone is gonna accept it. Just with a click, right? Okay. Now approved. And then the third branch, that is a judicial one, that is just like the one who applies the laws. So they change everything inside, and basically he owns the three branches of power. He's like a dictatorship, basically, an authoritarian state. But like, of course, if I say authoritarian state there, they're gonna kill me because I cannot speak bad about the government. But it's like, let's call it like a dictatorship, democratically elected, because people actually approve what he's doing, even though it's unconstitutional. In terms of, so he started to change everything, and we had one main problem in El Salvador, that were gangs.
Yeah, that's cartels.
Yeah, more than cartels is actually gangs, because they appeared back in the 1970s. The people actually who run from the war that I just told you, they moved to the US. Once in the US, they created gangs there. I don't know, because that's where gangs come from the United States. Where Salvadorians who went to the US and they established their own gangs there. So basically, like police department there in the US, they were, oh, these are gangs. So they captured them and they sent them back to El Salvador. But because El Salvador was living a civil war, they were not like processed by law. So it's like, okay, you went to the US, that's all. You didn't do anything bad at all. I mean, they just send you back. So we're gonna leave you free. And also we have a civil war, so we cannot do anything. There is no law.
So they didn't know what
They
they're
didn't
like
know.
actually doing.
Yeah. So the civil war happened, and they continued to increase in terms of power.
Yeah.
Once the civil war finished and they established the new constitution, the new whatever, these gangs were like they had so much power, and they just increased in power. Like it was exponential because they're like they had weapons, guns, whatever, drugs. There was so many things, and there was a point where they actually control zones. Like there were zones, there were areas of El Salvador where police cannot get in because they were probably gonna get killed by those gangs. And this of course is bad because I mean if there is a very this illegal situation happening here, nobody's gonna know because they are controlling everything. And they, apart from that, they like increased terrorism in El Salvador. Like they had extortions and stuff. They assassinated just for money. Like if I give you money, you assassinate this person. Okay, sure, fair. And they there was extortions, prostitution, human trafficking. You had to pay just to keep you alive, you know, like okay, every week they knock at your door, like the gangs, and it's like, give me $20.
And if you don't have the $20, that's
exactly. And it's like, okay, but I don't have the $20. Okay, but I keep you alive, so what are you gonna give me back? So it's like, give me your son. I'm gonna put it into the gang because that's the way they increase like population in gangs. Because when gangs in terms of power increase, they need more personnel, more members. So they were like taking out guys, actually 12, probably teenagers, and they made them to leave school just to join the gangs. And it's just like, or you join the gang or we kill your family, you know. And you cannot leave the gang because they kill you too. So I never experienced this by myself, you know. But they have told me. And like the news also agree with this. There were so many assassinations per day. I think over the years, those 30 years of governments, we were probably disputing or between the third, second, and first rank of the most dangerous country in Latin America. With the new government, they basically, it was an authoritarian state. They applied the martial law. So basically, they can take you to jail or they can capture you without no reason. Just because the police suspects you are, I don't know, part of a gang, or they can just take you without no reason.
Is it in law today? Like, is it
still? They can knock at your door and it's like, oh, you're part of a gang, come with us. And then you don't have a right to defend yourself in front of a court or anything.
And you just go to prison and that's it?
I mean, prison, you have or hopefully someone can take you out, you know, someone pays for you or they process you in the court. You had like how you call it, like the where is the law and the stuff. Still. So they applied this martial law. They invested so much in military, in army, in everything, weapons. Like there were so much. You can see videos. There are like tanks everywhere. There are soldiers everywhere, and they just start taking people randomly. Check them. If we suspect we are part of a gang, you come with us. If not, you're free. You know, and they even saturated the jails we had, and they had to build a bigger.
Because more people.
More people. I think we have the biggest one in Latin America. I'm not sure about that fact. But if it's not, it's about to become. So, they started to censor some information. Like I think there was something in the government, like a web page where you can search for how many murders there were today. Like if I go
today,
murders in El Salvador, and you can see, today they killed 20. And you can, if they identify them, you can see if it's your familiar, like your relative. And they just started just not putting this information. So people just assume, we are secure now.
Okay, so they just don't put it, but it doesn't mean that it's not there anymore.
And it's like, there were like 3 years updating this web page, and now there's nothing. That means we are secure. And then I think there was like a moment when we were like 200 days straight, like forward, without assassinations, without murder, and we became the most secure country. But there were people who were captured, putting into jails, and yeah, if you ask people in El Salvador, they're probably gonna say that we are now secure. There are no more gangs, and you can notice actually people is starting to going out and nothing is happening. There is no information about murder, so we cannot know. And but yeah, so we are more secure in terms,
than you
but
used to
like
be.
you have to consider to what extent and to which coast, because there are many probably innocent of peoples who are in jail that were they did nothing,
Yeah.
but they're still there because they were considered or suspected as part of the gangs.
Yeah. So those numbers, they come at a
Yeah,
cost.
and also human rights. You look El Salvador in all the human rights organization, international organization about human rights, and we are not in the list because all the things they do they don't give them food or anything, like because this government has like this ideology of if they kill our people, why should we take care of them? So it's probably innocent people is still suffering
Yeah, but
there.
if those are not
You
the
know,
people
yeah.
in gangs. Wow.
I mean, it's more about human rights and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
I try to keep it neutral,
No,
like
no,
you can see the
I mean,
pros and
yeah.
contrast.
No, I mean it's a huge impact. It's a huge part of the life in El Salvador. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
how can you just not,
I mean,
talk
they
about
have
it?
this. If you don't have anything like anything illegal behind your life, why you should be scared of?
Yeah. And how about like for military? I mean, you mentioned that they're expanding, that there
Yeah,
are a lot
yeah.
of people involved. Is military like compulsory for like all of the
No, it's
boys?
not.
No,
Actually, it's not. Not yet.
not yet.
I mean, I don't think there is. I haven't seen any news about they are trying to do compulsory the military services.
So you don't need to after 18 go to.
Yeah, yeah. I think there is not. I hope there's not gonna be. But like the government on Twitter, he always encourages people to like has propaganda stuff like you should join the military and save our country. It's like oh yeah, but they take you from a young age, so it's probably leaving a school and then getting into military.
Yeah, most likely. Okay. But also, like, I read a part of
Yeah,
all of those things. I mean, I also read that because of the, like, I don't know how the economical stuff is happening right now, but it says on the internet that it's pretty easy right now to own a business and be an entrepreneur in El Salvador. I don't know where it comes from or how it works, but like, I was wondering how many people do you know who actually own a business and how is it with economy in general?
Okay. I think when I came here in Hong Kong after a couple of months already here, I noticed most people live in flats,
Yeah.
And back home, I was because I don't see myself living in a flat, and I started to investigate because back home is pretty weird that people actually live in flats. People, most of them have homes and stuff, and I started to researching the reasons. First of all, like the amount of population that Hong Kong has compared to El Salvador. That's one reason. But second, like I also started to watch like how much you need in order to own a flat here in Hong Kong, and it's much more expensive than having a house there in El Salvador.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't take econs. I probably what I'm gonna say is gonna be dumb for someone who is watching this,
But it's okay.
but I'm trying to. But basically, like I could also compared the minimum salary here in Hong Kong and El
So you
Salvador.
did a lot of research, yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Because I was very interested.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why is not first word is like how is possible that people have their own houses there in a developing country
And here
then
everybody
here all in flats?
Yeah.
But the thing is that I don't actually I don't know, but it's like I think it's most difficult for you here in Hong Kong to outstand if you have like a own business
Yeah.
or company, whatever.
Because the competition, a lot
Because
of
the
people.
competition, it's like more difficult you to move socio-economical status back home. Here, if I try to have an innovating idea, it's probably already invented or is someone selling it already.
Yeah.
If I go to El Salvador with that same idea, everybody's gonna buy it. So it's like easier to become rich because there are not much things in El Salvador, and it's like, oh, if I come here to Hong Kong and I don't know, I was thinking about, and it's like I should grab like bobas because bobas are a big thing here.
Yeah.
And I grab bobas as
Yeah.
culture, and then I put it in El Salvador. Everybody's gonna buy
You'll
bobas,
be a
and I'm
millionaire.
gonna be
Yeah.
rich.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my plan.
Definitely. So yeah, you're actually planning to. You
Yeah,
should.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because
So it's much more easier. Yeah,
yeah.
and I think are much more things are expensiver in El Salvador. I don't know if because we use the USD or I don't know. And here in Hong Kong, they are supposed to be cheaper because there is no export or like aduana fee, the fee and taxes or yeah. So I don't know.
But it's more expensive in El Salvador, right?
It is
It is.
compared to the minimum salary and how expensive things are. Yeah,
It is more expensive.
because we used to have a official currency called colon. There was not too much inflation surrounding that currency, but they just changed it to dollar in 2001. And now we have dollar. Everything became too much like expensive.
Yeah.
Life expensive, everything. And
I mean, yeah, that's
but like poverty. I mean, people from the US who actually use USD come to these countries. For them are probably not that much expensive, and they just come and they all put their business there. And that's where there are many call centers there in El Salvador, international business putting their things because
okay,
it's
so
cheaper
yeah.
for them, not
Yeah.
for us.
I mean, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. And in terms of Hong Kong, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Hong Kong is another case. And how about like, okay, you mentioned the U.S. dollar being one of the main currencies, but what is also interesting about El Salvador is that in 2021, I guess, you were the first country in the world to introduce Bitcoin as a national currency. So did it somehow affect? I mean, I'm also not an economist, so I'm not the expert, but like, did it somehow affect your life? Do you know a lot of people who own Bitcoin because it's pretty cool?
Yeah. I don't think we are proud about that.
Yeah. Okay, you tell me.
Because it's Bitcoin is volatile.
Yeah.
One day is here, the other one day is there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that law came in 2021.
Yeah.
We had Bitcoin, and they just introduced it. There was not like a planning on how to introduce it. They just force it to people. And now we have it. We encourage you to use it. And I think more than a way of improving country's economy was like a strategy, because other parts of the world, people probably they bought bitcoins when they were cheap,
very
as hell.
cheap,
Yeah, they were cheap, and then okay, now I have this token, I cannot use it, and now I'm just gonna keep it until, or praying hopefully someday there's gonna be internationally used. And then you have this little country there in Central America that uses Bitcoin, and I have this that I cannot use. I have to spend it. It's like I will do it. Actually, it's like, okay, I have this, I cannot spend it, but there appears I'm a spending machine there.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, just for fun. So many tourists actually came just for tourism. You can go to El Salvador still. I don't think many people use Bitcoin as official currency, but like tourists
try to.
Try to. You can go to any restaurant, even McDonald's. You can go and you can pay with Bitcoin.
Oh, wow.
They have this strategy of applying, because we are very well known of our beaches. So they are trying to create surf city. Usually our cities or villages are called like they have the name of a colonial, I don't know, saint or anything.
Yeah.
And then others have like indigenous names. And this surf city is in English. Is literally that's the name.
So surf city,
is just like aimed to be for tourists. Tourists, they came and they
for surfing and spending
surfing
Bitcoins.
and spending Bitcoins. Yeah.
Wow.
The government bought with like the economical reserves a bunch of Bitcoins in 2021. Back in 2021, and when it was like $61,000, the equivalent to like $61,000 USDs. And now, like, I think Elon Musk tweeted something like, "Oh no, we are not accepting more Bitcoin in Teslas," and then the Bitcoin just dropped to 15,000.
Wow.
So basically, the government lost all those money. People did too, and the government was like, because we have a national wallet, like. Yeah, it's just like having like Octopus card, but in the phone.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's like like a
something that you can pay with everywhere.
Yeah, but just in El Salvador.
Yeah.
So basically, there's where you have your Bitcoins, you transfer them there, and you can change it in a cashier, a special cashiers, back to USD, or you can buy more bitcoins there. And people were encouraged to sign up to that app. And if you sign it up, you can receive like the equivalent to 30 USDs. And people were like crazy. I need my 30 USDs.
Wow.
And everything. But then also there was like hackers trying to take out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because yeah.
It was not even prepared for that, the government, because it's like, probably, I don't know who did the app. Probably was like 3 scholars there in the university studying programming, and it's like, okay, we're just gonna create a wallet. It's gonna be free. We promise you a percentage, and then they hacked it. You know.
No.
Yeah, you cannot. If they hack your bitcoins, you cannot
do anything
take
about
them back.
it.
You know,
Yeah.
because there's no proof of it. Because
Yeah.
Bitcoin is supposed not to have a
tracking or anything. Yeah.
You know, nobody. I don't know anyone. Probably I do, but I don't know.
I mean,
at least in my family, nobody signed up for the app.
Yeah.
Nobody, at least in my family, nobody owns Bitcoin.
Yeah. But I mean, now makes much more sense.
Yeah, and even though if they try nowadays to sign up, they are probably not receiving anything because it was 30 at that time. Now it's 5 cents.
Yeah,
you know?
now it's just wow.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just a fact, but it's not that local people actually like use it a lot.
More for
it's more
foreigners. Yeah.
Okay. And how about like you mentioned yourself about the surfing city, and it's also a well-known fact that like you're one of the best spots in the world to do surfing. So maybe you can tell us a bit more about that. Like how many tourists actually come to do that? Do you know yourself how to surf? All of that kind of stuff.
Okay. Yeah, we are pretty well known for beaches because we have long, big waves.
Yeah.
I came to Hong Kong. I saw the beaches here.
Funny for you?
Yeah, they were funny because tide, the tide.
Yeah,
it's like these small things they're coming up. Yeah.
Yeah, but you have like really big waves.
Back home, you can watch videos. Back home, we have big. They're strong. They actually throw you. You know.
Wow.
People surf there. We have this famous beach called El Tunco. It's like it's like very colloquial language, but should be translated like the pork or something like that.
Okay, nice, nice
the
name.
porky.
Yeah, the porky beach.
And yeah, many tourists go there just to practice on the wave.
Yeah.
There is as I tell you, surf city is literally aimed to be for just surf and Bitcoin. So people go. You can go and receive classes like lessons about how to surf.
Yeah, if you pay with Bitcoin.
If you pay with Bitcoin, of course, yeah. There are the many schools who teach you.
Yeah, and how about you? Like, were you yourself? Or?
Not as big surfer.
Okay.
I actually don't surf. I think I have just tried once in my life. Pretty funny.
Pretty funny.
Yeah,
I mean, it was big waves.
Pretty funny. The first time was my only and last time.
You definitely enjoyed it.
It's funny, you enjoy it, but then it's like you don't get it the first time, you know.
Of course,
yeah,
no.
you just get thrown by the waves one and over again, and you get like injuries because of the sand and stuff. And I think there has also been like surf World Cups or stuff like that there in El Salvador because of the magnitude of these waves.
So you get a lot of tourists because of that as well.
And the sunsets.
Yeah. How about, okay, we just touched upon the nature, so it's also famous for, nature, very beautiful nature, volcanoes. I mean, probably, I'm not geography as well, but like volcanoes and, no, I'm not geo, but like waves and stuff like that, it's supposed to be somehow impacted, right? So I was wondering like about the earthquakes because of the volcanoes and just in general, what is like the, weather, stuff like that.
Nature, I like the nature there. It's very tropical, very, very humidity.
Yeah.
I live all my life most in the city, actually always in the city.
Okay.
But I travel a lot to the beaches, and because the size of El Salvador is like 21,000 square kilometers, it's very easy to explore the entire country in one day. You stop 20 minutes and then you go 20 minutes, then you go blah blah, blah, and that in one day. So they have, even the government has applied like this route, like this road that is like for tourists just to record the entire country in one day. And there we have volcanoes.
Yeah, you do, even on the flag.
We have like the flag one.
Yeah.
We have, let's see, probably like 100 volcanoes. I'm
Yeah,
probably
wow.
exaggerating, but like
No, but I mean,
more
you have
than
a lot
30,
of them.
less than
You're
100.
known like the land of volcanoes.
The land of
so
volcanoes.
Definitely a lot.
Because there is, in Spanish it's called Cinturón de Fuego. It should be translated like belt of fire. There is like a tectonic plate, like a big, huge tectonic plate that passed through all America, Central America, and it literally passes down El Salvador.
Wow.
So that's where
So
there's
you-
so many volcanoes.
Great
Most
position.
of them are active, others already not
Sleeping or-
sleeping. I don't know how to call it. Others are already underwater because they're. I think there's one. It's pretty beautiful there because it's like the crater of a volcano that exploded hundreds of years ago,
Yeah.
and now it's a lake. It's pretty scary actually because they have people just go there and they get lost and they
Oh.
never appear again. It's like because you were so like
So you're just
sucked by the volcanoes.
Ah,
I
so
don't
it's
know.
ah,
I don't know.
underwater.
I don't know.
Wow, okay.
That's why my mom tells. That's why she doesn't let me go to the
Okay,
lake.
fair enough.
Um,
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we have volcano in even because this tectonic plate we have like frequently we have a lot of earthquakes,
Yeah.
tremors. We're called also Valle de las Hamacas, like Hamaca Valley. I think it's translated like hamaca. You know the one that swings,
Yeah,
the one
yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
hang in palms and yeah.
Yeah.
So I think there should be at least one tremor every 2 or 1 week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. But like it's
they're,
not
they're
super.
not big, it's
Yeah.
more like the huge ones are supposed to be every 15 years. There has been already 22 years since the last big huge one back in 2001.
So you didn't experience any like major yourself?
No,
Okay.
because there is like a difference between a tremor and a huge earthquake.
Yeah.
Because the earthquakes are supposed to cause infrastructural damages and stuff, and those are not that big. They're between, this Rich scale.
Yeah. I know that
So it's
one.
between 2 and probably 6, 6.5. So they stay between that range.
Yeah.
So it's like, even though they are not harmful for people,
Yeah.
you still like feel them, and it's like more the adrenaline, because
You're
it's
like,
very
"Ooh."
exciting when
Yeah.
it's tremoring, it's tremoring. And people is like, yeah, it's another one.
Yeah.
And you multiple times I've just woke up in the middle of the night, 2, 3 a.m. and it's tremoring. And it's like,
Wow.
no,
And you're
again,
like-
and I just go to sleep again. Yeah.
Wow.
Because then we are used to it then.
No, yeah, of course. No, in Belarus, I mean, you don't get any of those. So for me, it's like, oh, whatever the tremor is, I'll be like, oh no, like hide under the table. I don't know what you're supposed to do. I mean, and in school, are you taught any precautions about that? Because I saw
we are,
those
we are.
videos, yeah.
There has supposed to be like 5 per year, but at least in my school there was just like one or two,
Yeah.
and people were joking about it. Like you were supposed to be serious on it.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, it's happening.
we're gonna do like it's tremoring, and we're gonna follow the precaution signs and everything. And people, because you're supposed to do this, and you go out of the school and you
Yeah.
look for the meeting point, and it's like people is just joking about it. It's tremoring, it's tremoring.
I got it. So yeah, you're pretty sure about that.
Yeah.
It's not affecting
Yeah,
that
but we
much.
know the secure
Yeah.
ways of how to survive, I guess.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Oh, we have also yesterday we have a solar eclipse there in El Salvador.
ooh.
Yeah. I never experienced a solar eclipse because they are usually in the other part of the world.
Yeah.
And now I'm in the other part of the world, and
Yeah.
now it's in El Salvador.
Well, that's unfortunate. But I mean, I don't think you can see it if you're not well prepared. And you're supposed to have the special glasses, not just the sun covers them. I mean,
think-
at least that's how it happened when we had a solar eclipse.
People, I
I
don't think people care about that. They just they were people recording.
that's the
Yeah,
sun.
yeah, that's the sun.
Yeah, that's nice.
It was pretty cloudy also. And people, look the eclipse.
Well, at least it was there. We know about that.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it was there. And how about? I mean, if it's nature connected, I don't know. But like, you're also known as the country of like very, very good coffee. And I was wondering, like, you're exporting coffee a lot, yeah.
okay.
And I was wondering, like, how you're familiar with coffee culture, and is it a huge thing? I mean, or-
I think coffee is very in Central America. Yeah, it's a big deal.
yeah,
Not in El Salvador, but in Costa Rica, I have seen that there is like Starbucks has like put it there its own factories of coffee. Like they extract the coffee there, and yeah, it's like the main factory of Starbucks around the world, or at least in America,
Yeah.
where they get the coffee from Costa Rica. But like because these things happen in those countries, they don't let the other countries to develop in terms of coffee.
No.
In El Salvador, we have coffee.
Yeah.
It's pretty strong, and people is actually crazy about even my mom, my dad is
Yeah.
there. They love coffee. They cannot wake up and not have coffee in their
Yeah,
table
it's in their
because they
blood.
have headaches and
Yeah.
stuff. Like it's almost like a drug, you know.
Wow. So it's like a huge part, actually.
It's a huge part. In terms of economics, like
Yeah.
if we are based our economy in coffee, probably not. But
I mean, tourism and bitcoins. I mean.
that's enough. That sells. But we have also cacao. Back in the past, we have añil. It was like a tide.
Yeah. Indigo. This.
Yeah,
No?
like
Yeah.
kind of. Yeah, you use like ink to tide. Yeah,
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
We don't use it anymore because we have artificial ones.
Okay, fair enough.
And then coffee, cacao.
Yeah.
Probably. I went to Belgium once.
Okay.
In Belgium, there was this chocolate museum, and then it was like, oh, try our chocolate, and then cacao produced in El Salvador. It's like
And you're like,
I
you're
came to
proud,
other
you
way
know.
around of the world just to try my own cacao, you know.
Well, but I mean, you should be proud. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
You know, famous Belgian chocolate, and they're making it out of your
Yeah, from El
cocoa
Salvador.
beans. So
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, and if we like already moved to the topic of food, I mean, coffee, food culture. Tell me about the famous, you know, dishes. I mean, we watched the video with DiCaprio bragging about pupusas. So
Oh, yeah.
what are those? And just in general,
Yeah.
what is the cuisine?
Traditional dishes. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, just in general, like,
Okay.
how is it? Is it spicy? Is it not? What is the, like, you know, your favorite dish? Something like that.
Because we were like we were still in our indigenous, like we were still pasted to our indigenous roots.
Yeah.
We were part of the Mesoamerican civilization that
Yeah.
is Aztecas, Mayas, and stuff. We in Mexico they have tacos, burritos, but we have pretty much the same, but like in other ways to prepare it. It's not the same. I'm not saying it's the same. It's much more better in El Salvador.
Of course.
Also, we have pupusas.
Yeah.
Pupusas are like these. How to explain it?
Tortilla, yeah.
Tortilla, but inside it has like beans, cheese, meat sometimes,
Yeah.
and you eat it with some tomato sauce. That one is kind of spicy. Depends on how expensive the tomato is, because people add like spicy things, so people don't grab that much. And something called curtido. I don't know how to explain that. There's no translation for that word.
Yeah, but
it's like I don't know, like cabbage and I don't know, onion, carrot stuff.
So all together.
Mashed together, mix it, and you eat them. What else? Also related to cacao, we have hot chocolate.
Okay.
But it's not like the hot chocolate. Probably in Europe you have. I went to Europe. I asked hot chocolate, and they gave me literally milk and some chocolate just to melt it inside. That's not hot chocolate for us.
For me,
it's cacao, like smashed cacao literally, and then you put it there with some hot water.
So without milk, because I also
Without
know the
milk.
one.
You can add milk.
Yeah, but usually the original one
they
is
don't.
without milk.
We have horchata. Have you tried horchata?
No.
Have you heard about horchata?
No.
So it's basically I don't know. I don't even know, but it's like they collect a lot of seeds, they smash them, and they just put it with water also. It's like they have morro. That is like in Mexico they have mani, like peanut, and here in El Salvador we have morro. I don't know that fruit. I never seen that fruit anywhere else than El Salvador.
Yeah.
And you just smash it with other like almond. I don't know what they have.
And then
also pepper, fruit, and you put water.
Okay.
Pretty good also. We have enchiladas, tamales. Most of them are based on corn because like indigenous societies, they used to eat a lot of corn. And there are just multiple ways to prepare it. And pupusas, I guess, is like the most famous in El Salvador because I learned the history because I was forced to for my application process in UWC.
Okay, fair.
And I realized that pupusas actually come from Guatemala.
Oh, okay, so it's not your indigenous.
But we adopted it. In Guatemala, they don't have it. They just have it in the east southern part.
Yeah.
So it's like, but then those people, because were created by indigenous people, they moved to El Salvador during the prior to the Civil War, and they introduced it to El Salvador, and
that's how.
And they were done by corn, and now we have rice pupusas.
Right.
But they were because by the time during the Civil War the corn was expensive, so they tried to do like
Makes
tortillas
sense.
out of other things.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, and even DiCaprio likes pupusas right now, you know.
Yeah, that's how I knew about them, right? Okay, and you just yourself mentioned the the influence of indigenous society on the societies on the cuisine. So maybe you can just in general tell about the culture. I know that at least on the internet
Yeah.
it says that music is a huge part of it, that it's heavily interested, like influenced by the indigenous societies. So what are your thoughts?
As I mentioned, our culture, pretty much our culture is based on indigenous societies. Of course, we were colonies from Spain. That's why
Yeah.
we speak Spanish as
Yeah.
official language. But there were also like indigenous language. There is Nahuatl.
Yeah.
I don't speak it.
So only Spanish. Yeah.
I just learned Spanish there. Nahuatl, because in every Mexico and Central America is like these Mayas, Aztecas,
Yeah.
you know, the ones who predicted the end of the world.
Yeah, in 2012.
So basically, they were killed by Spanish people
Yeah.
when they came for and they did colonization, or they took them and they pushed them to Africa to trade them somewhere.
Yeah.
Also, with the civil wars, they were killed. We had this dictator back in the 1940s, I guess. It was called Maximiliano Martinez. He basically not declared war, but he sent it to kill every African descendant and also indigenous. So that's why in El Salvador we don't have much more presence about African societies or indigenous societies compared to other Central American countries. Because you go to Guatemala, there is a big thing around
Yeah.
indigenous, like the entire culture. You go there and it's like, oh, we are gonna treat you like indigenous here. They give you like sweaters made out of traditional
Yeah,
stuff.
like ornaments, yeah.
They speak Nahuatl. I know people who encourage you go to some villages there, and you still can hear the Nahuatl. But then in El Salvador,
Not so
really,
much.
yeah, rarely. But yeah, we still have somehow their culture. Some of the cities, villages, they have Nahuatl names.
Yeah.
I barely can pronounce them.
No, but it's okay,
Suchitlan,
yeah.
or like I don't know what else. Anything, yeah.
Yeah.
I cannot remember right now. But yeah, because they're complicated. They
Yeah,
have
makes sense.
they
No,
have tones that I
you
cannot
don't
pronounce.
speak
Yeah,
that language. It's okay.
true.
Yeah.
Well, like people live there, so
Yeah.
rather than food, I don't think anything else. But like if because we have Independence Day,
Yeah.
15th of September, you are supposed to like most of Central America is supposed to do a big show, you know,
About their
like
culture, yeah.
culture, nationalism. Now we have militarism, but like back in the days, in the
It was
good days,
national, yeah.
there was cultural, there were dances. It's funny because it's like a combination between indigenous and Catholic because of the Spanish one,
Okay.
the Spanish colonization, and like you know, Mayas had their own gods,
Yeah.
but now there are those cultures combined with Catholicism.
Wow. And it's
You
like,
have Jesus with a indigenous sweater there, and yeah,
wow.
I don't know.
What would you say then in terms of people and in terms of culture? What makes you different from the other nationalities? Like you can name one thing, you can name two things. Like why do you think Salvadorians are different from the other nations?
From the entire world.
I mean, you've seen a lot of nationalities here in LPC, so maybe you can. I mean, you already named the difference in terms of like, you being more welcoming and more engaging with people. Maybe there is something else that strikes you and you're like, okay, we're Salvadorians, we're doing this way, and that makes us, different from the others.
Oof, pretty interesting. Interesting question.
I mean, it's not the easiest one. Maybe you can, I don't know, come up with the value. Maybe, I mean, you can just tell from your own
I
perspective.
think it will be warming because, yeah,
Yeah.
you probably go to El Salvador and you're gonna be very welcomed by people. Like people doesn't judge you like here in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
They stare at you
Yeah.
and they look kind of mean. But yeah, they were very very welcoming. They probably gonna invite you for something.
Right.
Like you try to buy something in the street and they're gonna invite you. Even in
Just a
the
complete stranger, just like a
yeah,
tourist
yeah,
if I
yeah.
come.
I
Wow.
have seen videos of people who actually
Okay.
buy for foreigners or stuff.
Yeah.
Or they give them for free. I don't know. There is like the main I don't know, the main, like the historical center of El Salvador.
Yeah.
Like I have seen that people get in a crowd, they're in a circle, and they start dancing. They put music. We have bachata and stuff,
Yeah.
cumbia. Those are like original, not original, but
But
like
like dances
musical
there.
genres there, and like people start dancing,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's like
That's pretty cool. So yeah, like
it's like yeah, you know, party. Well,
I
not
mean
party,
that's
but like
yeah, that's really
it's
cool.
culture.
Yeah, it's culture. And okay, and like with that comes like, I also read on the internet that there is like, vibrant nightlife. I mean, all of the people they're gathered together. I mean, lots of, I don't know, clubs partying. I'm not sure if it's true, but
Okay.
maybe you can tell me, like, what is the Friday evening like in El Salvador for you?
Okay, I will try to say my Friday evening or weekend evening
Yeah.
because I think I have to be living that right now, but I'm here.
Yeah.
So it's like let's see. Weekend people drink too much. Actually, they like to drink, but like drink and talk. Like sometimes people just hang out, just some random house of a friend, and they just have drinks, beer. I don't think if it's money, then something else,
Yeah.
tequila or
Yeah.
whiskey. I don't know. And they just drink, talk to each other. They order pupusas.
Yeah.
You eat them with pupusas. Pupusas actually, I don't know. It's like a national tradition
Yeah.
to eat pupusas on a Sunday night.
Oh, okay.
Not everyone. It's
Do
not
you-
compulsory, but
but-
like it's pretty often that you go like pupuserias. That is like the shops you call
Oh,
where
okay.
you,
Like it's like
the
pizzeria, but
places
like
where you the
okay.
special places where you buy pupusas.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you have those. People, there are gonna be always crowd on Sunday
Okay.
night. People with their family just go to it. Um, Also, Sunday morning you go to church. I don't know.
Okay.
When is Catholicians? Yeah,
Yeah, Catholics, yeah.
Catholics. Yeah.
Yeah.
What else? Saturday, people usually go to the beach also.
Yeah.
I don't know. They like to go to the beach.
I mean, you have a lot of
sunset.
beautiful
Yeah.
beaches, why not? Yeah.
And that's pretty much like very tropical, like
Right.
drink,
chill,
eat,
yeah.
yeah, chill.
You don't have such thing as siesta, or do you? Like
Us?
siesta, like when it's a break
Oh,
somewhere in the middle of the day.
Like a nap
Yeah, some kind of. Like, is there anything
for
like
old
that?
people.
No, just in general. Like, for example, is it in Italy? I'm not sure where is this, but like they have a break right in the middle of the workday where all the
Really?
shops are closed. Yeah, it's like lunch break, let's say, and like you have your lunch and then you go to have some like kind of a break and then you just
Damn.
continue with work.
Right.
But I mean,
I don't think we have
Yeah.
such a nap thing,
Nap
such
time.
a siesta
Yeah.
thing. But like, I know there is like a break on the middle of the day. People usually go out of the works just to boil food and they come
Yeah.
back later
Yeah,
at
so
one.
this
But
is-
it's not
yeah.
like
This is
they
a lunch
don't.
break.
The
That's
places
just-
doesn't close. There's
Yeah.
usually someone there attending people.
Yeah.
Because imagine, like, I want to go to the restaurant and the restaurant is closed.
Taking all of those things into consideration, like being an international student and talking about El Salvador, would you say you would like to come back or you would go somewhere else?
To Hong Kong.
No, not to Hong
okay,
Kong, just
but
in general. Like, come back. I mean, right now you're a student here internationally, and for the uni, you're also probably going to go somewhere else or maybe stay in Hong Kong, but not coming back to El Salvador for the university. I mean, is it a plan? I think so.
Okay, I mean, I like Hong Kong.
Yeah.
I love Hong Kong. I just fall in love with when I saw Victoria Harbor.
That's it.
That's all. That was all.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, kind of feels bad because I compare it to my country. My country is still developing, still like it's far from getting what Hong Kong is right now. And it's like, because I was so many years, 15, 16 years there in El Salvador, I was just like forced to see one perspective. I came
Yeah.
to Hong Kong, I saw this new perspective of life, and usually they ask me. Actually, my mom, Gordo is my nickname. She says,
Okay.
like, Gordo. Whenever you finish there in Hong Kong or in the university, we would like to come back to El Salvador. And I was
Yeah.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
I like El Salvador. I love El Salvador. Why wouldn't? But now that I'm here, it's very
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
you actually re-question it yourself.
Yeah.
Like, damn, there is so much than just El Salvador. There are other parts of the world. I don't see myself after UWC or after graduating here. I don't see myself studying here. I want to explore more
More countries, yeah.
countries, more the world. Probably going university somewhere and traveling. It would be nice, and I promise I will come back just to like for example 28 years. For example, I'm
Yeah.
gonna come back and just remember those days I was in LPC.
Yeah.
But I don't think I would. Of course I would miss El Salvador. I
But
have a plan to how to become rich in El
yeah,
Salvador.
yeah,
That's true. But like not live definitely in El Salvador. Like probably travel or
yeah.
moving
I mean, still
constantly.
families there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
because like probably if I don't know. I don't think I will force my parents to move. And
Yeah.
even though if I give them the choice, I don't think they're gonna choose to move from El
Yeah.
Salvador because they have so many things there. But yeah,
But you yourself, I mean,
yeah,
yeah.
I think they just told me I that's like my grandfather's thing that just do your life, don't care about us, do whatever you want to be happy and don't have us in mind. Of course, we're gonna be always here for you, but yeah, just continue your life.
Yeah, it's your life. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's really cool. I think that's it from my side. If there is anything else you want to add, feel free to, but that's it.
yeah. Subscribe to the channel.
Thank you.
Subscribe.
Yeah, muchas gracias for coming.